Ohara is an ugly, lonely nerd just like you who has no Rizz and no chicks. He stays alone with his cat, just like you, and works at a tourism company. But one day, the company decides to send single people to the North Pole for a new opening. And Ohara is the main target, but another single girl, Hajuji, comes up with a plan so they won't stay single anymore. Kurikawa enters the Japan Tourism Company's office, and there's hustle and bustle everywhere. Everyone is busy, planning and negotiating with the customers while our lazy Ohara is stick to his computer. Kurikawa gives him the documents, but Ohara responds slowly. She yells at him to speak up and make eye contact when speaking. Turns out that Ohara has been lazy ever since he was a kid. He has a habit of responding late to everything. Kamiya also gives him a file and he is so slow that he can't even say thank you. Suddenly, he feels a chill down his spine and sees that Henjoji is staring at him. He pisses his pants as if he has seen a ghost and gets right back to work. At night, Ohara goes home and cooks food for his cat and himself. He thinks of Henjoji and wonders why she always looks at him like a mommy who wants him to keep working. However, Henjoji is only a year older employee at the company, but everyone is scared of her. The next day, Ohara is mopping the floor when Henjoji stares at him again. He thinks he is slacking, but turns out that Henjoji has a weird habit of unconsciously looking at people. She can't help it, and that's why everyone thinks that she is angry. However, Henjoji also has a positive side and she loves looking at different maps. This is her best time of the day, but she doesn't know what is waiting for her. A couple of days later, the manager announces that they are opening a new branch in Alaska next year, so they need some members. Kurikawa says that the members must be single because they will be living away from their families. Ohara is shocked to hear it and quickly lifts his hand to tell the manager that he has a cat, but Kurikawa thinks that he is full of crap. After that, Kamiya and the rest of the team gather to discuss it, and she suggests that everyone should simply get married to avoid the transfer. Ohara has no chicks, just like you, so he wonders how he is going to get married. Meanwhile, Henjoji is still staring at him. She is also worried about her job because she only likes places on the map and can't handle the cold in Alaska. She wants to stay home, so she makes a plan. The next day, Ohara is coming back from the vet with Kama when he encounters Henjoji. The two greet each other, but Ohara calls her. He appreciates her help and apologizes for being a jackass. Henjoji asks if he is going to leave the company, and Ohara says that he is planning to tell everything to Kurikawa on Monday. Suddenly, Henjoji remembers her plan and asks Ohara if he would like to get married. Shocked and confused, Ohara asks what the hell she is talking about, but Henjoji can't go back now. She tells Ohara that she doesn't want to go to Alaska, and Ohara also wants to stay with his cat, so she suggests that they pretend to be a couple. Nobody will recognize them since they are low-life peasants and the most boring people on earth. Ohara thinks that Henjoji has a valid point because the company prefers single people, and he can also stay with his cat. Ohara agrees, and Henjoji tells him to meet her at the entrance on Monday. She tells Ohara that she will do everything, and he just needs to keep a low profile. On Monday, Kurikawa gets the news of the new couple, and she becomes excited. She congratulates the duo, but Henjoji tells her to keep it to herself. Suddenly, Kamiya arrives, and Kurikawa leaves. Henjoji says that the plan is a total success for now. After that, they get back to their routine work, but both of them feel shy of each other. Kurikawa calls Ohara and tells him to bring Henjoji to their usual Italian place. When they go there, it turns out to be a surprise wedding party. Kurikawa has told everyone everything about the marriage, but they can only pretend for now. Henjoji tells Ohara that they will have to go with the flow and takes the wine bottle to a separate room. However, Kurikawa thinks that their engagement is too sudden and a bit strange, but the bitch is just too drunk. Suddenly, Henjoji comes out of the room, fully drunk, and starts singing. However, her singing is even worse than a dog barking while Ohara sits there like a useless piece of trash. After the party, Henjoji starts wobbling around and falls on Ohara's shoulder, but keeps her composure and apologizes. This is the worst day of her life, but even worse shit is about to happen. The next day, she goes to the bay to make their story even more concrete. She told Ohara that they would need to come up with their love story and gave him a form to fill out. Now, Henjoji is using those answers to take relevant pictures and get specific items. However, she still can't think of something and tries to remember Ohara, but she can only remember a boring, dusty person. Henjoji thinks that she is too heartless to remember even the faces, and suddenly, Ohara pops up. He wants to help Henjoji in making her story look realistic, so they decide to go on the Ferris wheel. Henjoji tells him that she has done almost everything and shows him the wedding rings that she bought for him. There's only one problem. and Joji can't think of the words to use for the proposal, so Ohara says that he will help her out. The ugly nerd tries to say something, but he can't due to anxiety, and Joji understands that Ohara is panicking, so she tells him to take his time. Ohara goes home and keeps remembering the night for a whole day. Kama gets a liking to Ohara's shirt, and he wonders if Hanjoji's scent is attracting the cat. However, Ohara still hasn't worn the ring that Hanjoji gave him. He tries to put it on his finger, but he can't and thinks that it will cause a disaster. He considers himself a good-for-nothing loser. Meanwhile, Hanjoji is at the beach and she's collecting seashells from the shore. He loves it and thinks that she is living her dream life. There are not so many people around, but Hanjoji gets carried away and quickly comes back to her introverted personality after seeing a couple. Hanjoji loves collecting shells, maps, and traveling here and there, but it is too exhausting. Suddenly, she gets a message from Rizz who asks her to meet her, but Hanjoji says that she is not in Japan. Back at home, Ohara is still wondering how to put on the ring, and Kama closely watches this bastard. After collecting all the strength from his bloodline, Ohara finally manages to put on the ring, but nothing happens. He is relieved and now all of his fears are gone, so he feels confident. But things take a sudden shift when Ohara gets a threatening call from an unknown number. The caller tells him about the fake marriage of Hanjoji and threats to send both of them to Alaska. Ohara shits his pants and the next day, he tells Hanjoji-san about the threat call. She wonders who it could be, and Ohara says that the voice was not even real, and he doesn't even know if the caller was a male or a female. Suddenly, Gonda pops up and greets them. He looks a bit tense and asks Ohara if he can come over tonight. Ohara is confused as he is not even close to Gonda, and he might be the caller. So, Hanjoji grabs Ohara and says that she will come over too. This is just a way to keep their act in place. In the evening, Hanjoji goes to Ohara's apartment, but she has a big bag with her. She tells Ohara to look at the manual she has prepared and start putting things together accordingly. Ohara is impressed that Hanjoji doesn't mess around even for a fake marriage and gets to work. After putting everything in place, the duo learns their script so nothing falls out of place. It looks like a preparation for an event, and Hanjoji says that it looks just like her cultural festival event. Both of these losers used to play the tree role in the background. Suddenly, there's a knock on the door and Kamiya and Keisuke have also joined Gonda. Ohara and Hanjoji think that they are doomed, but they still have to play their parts. Ohara asks what Gonda wanted to discuss, and Gonda says that he wants to get married. Turns out that Gonda is on 7 different dating apps, and Bumble, just like you, but still can't get a chick. Keisuke and Keimoya tease him, and Hanjoji asks them to start the dinner. She needs to use the restroom, and Gonda asks about the tips. Ohara says that he himself doesn't know anything about it. He met Hanjoji in Singapore and got married after wearing a ring. He is still the same useless person, and Hanjoji is hearing all of this. Finally, the guests decide to leave, but Gonda still needs support from Ohara since he is trying to get married to Kamiya. Ohara knows for sure that Gonda is not the threat caller. Ohara and Hanjoji are now alone, and they wonder why everyone is so happy about their marriage, even if they are still single. Hanjoji says that the single people might see them as a light of hope, and that's why they glow up after hearing about us. However, Hanjoji doesn't glow as she has no interest in marriage, but Ohara says that one can still be happy without getting married. Hanjoji starts yapping about how she loves maps and gets carried away, so she quickly takes leave. Both of them were so close today that they got the wrong idea. The next day, Hanjoji puts on a new banner for the ticket sales, and suddenly, an old man enters. She thinks that he is a customer, and Hanjoji tells him to take a ticket and wait for it. However, all the counters are full, and it has been a long time since Hanjoji has talked to a customer, so she decides to handle the man himself, and things come crashing down. The man tells Hanjoji that he is Ohara's father, and he has heard that his son is getting married. Hanjoji thinks that she is dead because she completely left out the family part of the planning. She declines, saying that she has no idea about it, and Ohara's father leaves after giving a calendar to Hanjoji. Hanjoji quickly goes to Ohara's cabin, but the bastard is not there. She thinks that their plan will fail, and she decides to tell Ohara's father everything. As soon as she goes outside, she sees the old man burning with anger. She tells him to come to the coffee shop with her, as Ohara is on his way here. Hanjoji asks why he was so angry, and Ohara's father tells him that Ohara's marriage can ruin the family. They have a specific style of getting married. They invite 200 people for a feast and a hot bath. The marriage ceremony goes on for a week, but since Ohara is the eldest son, it will put a bad reputation. On the other hand, Ohara comes to the office and sees the message. He thinks that they will be caught for sure this time. Ohara quickly goes to the coffee shop and greets them. Joji is taken back, so she tells his father that they have to talk about work for a bit. Joji takes Ohara outside and tells him that she hasn't told his father anything about the marriage. Ohara thinks this is good, and he will just tell him that it was a rumor. However, Joji doesn't want to blow up their cover and goes back to sit with Ohara. His father asks her to leave since she doesn't have to be involved in this drama. But Joji is persistent, saying that all the things about the marriage he just told aren't foolish. She loves Iso's wedding style and thinks it is a beautiful country. Ohara's father told him that whatever he had just told her was a lie, and this wedding used to be a tradition of the past. Now, things have changed to minimal. Everyone leaves the city for the bigger ones, and their population is also dwindling. But due to a lower population, there are more fires in the fields. Joji says that she knows about it as she has seen it on maps. On the other hand, Ohara isn't involved much since he has heard this thousands of times. His father tells Joji that Ohara used to catch frogs in the fields when he was a little boy, and Joji didn't know that Ohara was such a clever boy. His father also adds that the Kamamoto branch told him about their marriage, and he also remembers the name of his fiancée. But Ohara quickly gets up. He tells him that he will come home next week and they will discuss it. The old man agrees and leaves, and Joji asks if he is really going home, and Ohara says that he will clear the misunderstanding as he has some other things to discuss too. Joji thinks it is good that she doesn't get involved in the family matters. They go back to the office, and Kurikawa tells Ohara that he will be the assistant for the princess who is visiting Tokyo. Kurikawa also tells Ohara that Princess Claudia has a strange behavior of taking young men as assistants, even though she is married. That's why Ohara is the perfect fit since he is completely harmless, and he is also getting married. It's been ages since Ohara worked as an assistant, so he has to do a lot of research and also feed Kama. Joji sees him getting frustrated and wants to help him. However, she suddenly turns back and goes outside, wondering why she is not behaving as usual. Ohara goes to the location where the princess is supposed to be, and there are guards everywhere. Suddenly, Princess Claudia pops up from behind and greets Ohara. However, she has difficulty speaking Japanese, so Ohara speaks in English with her. He asks if they should stick with the guards, and Claudia tells him that she is not a princess for now. Ohara asks where they should go first, but the princess has no idea. So, he uses his research and takes Claudia to a cat temple because she has posted a lot of pictures of cats on her social account. After that, they go to many different places, and in the end, Ohara takes her to a rooftop so she can dress like an anime character. Meanwhile, Keisuke tells everyone that Ohara and Claudia might be in a room alone since she has a habit of enjoying young men. Joji is hearing all of this, but she doesn't seem to be bothered since they are not even a real couple. It is night, and Claudia asks Ohara to take her to his apartment. On the other hand, Joji is outside Ohara's apartment because she has to give him something. She tries to put it inside the mailbox box, but the package is a bit bigger, so she decides to leave it on the front door. Suddenly, she hears laughter and a girl's voice coming from the Ohara's room. Turns out that Princess Claudia and Ohara are in the apartment, and Joji starts remembering what others said about this bitch. But Joji thinks that she should not get involved in someone's personal life. She peeks through the window, and Claudia sees her. Ohara opens the window, but there is nobody to be seen. Joji is hiding under the frame, and she wonders why Claudia is with Ohara. Although he is a decent person with no intentions like that, Joji is concerned about it. She tries to leave and thinks that this might have been a request from the princess. On the other hand, Claudia opens Kama's room and he quickly attacks her. She falls on Ohara, and Joji opens the door. She sees the two of them getting all lovely and tells Ohara that this is off limits. However, Claudia is very happy to see her. Turns out that Ohara told Claudia that he is married, so he can't take her to his apartment. But Claudia insisted on meeting Joji. That's why she was waiting for her. Joji gets all red due to the embarrassment and wants to be born again. Claudia thinks that the two of them are a perfect couple, just like in the movies. Claudia also explains that she had a lover and shows her pictures. Turns out that this bitch is a lesbian, and Ohara is a true Andrew Tate fan, so he quickly makes her leave. He asks Joji why she came over, and Joji gives him the package, which turns out to be a frog-shaped stone. Joji says that her hobby is collecting stones, and since he used to catch frigs, he might like it. Joji is still embarrassed, so she leaves, and Ohara thinks that he should keep the stone safe if he coincidentally gets married to her. The next day, Ohara goes into a samurai stance to wipe out the hairs off of Kama, but he still can't get Joji out of his mind. His sister texts him, but he doesn't even reply. Ohara is a lazy ass like you and he doesn't want to go back to Iso. However, he suddenly sees the stone and wonders why he feels good after getting it. He also wonders why Honjoji came to his apartment last night, and that's when he remembers her words. She told him not to let other women inside his apartment, which means that Ohara is not going along with the plan. He thinks that he is a scared cat for not going home, while Honjoji is doing all of this for him. When Ohara goes to the office, Honjoji makes eye contact with him but quickly gets back to work. She wants to talk to Ohara, but she can't since she has F up everything. She wants to know whether he is going home, but thinks that she will worsen the situation. Suddenly, Gonda asks if the couple is going to their hometown. Honjoji is shocked because she never told anyone, and everyone insists that they go together. Ohara says that he is going alone to take care of some boring stuff, but suddenly, Honjoji gets a call from an unknown number. It is the same person who had called Ohara. They ask Honjoji if she is going with Ohara cause they are getting married. The person is keeping a close eye on them, and it is surely someone from the office. The next day, Ohara drops Kama at the cat inn. However, he still can't get the caller out of his mind. He wonders who the blackmailer is, and due to that bastard, he will have to take Honjoji with him as well. He will also have to pay for Honjoji's ticket, which makes him sick. But Ohara is willing to do anything as long as his cat stays with him. Meanwhile, Honjoji is looking at Iso's map and opens her cupboard to take a look at his outfits. She remembers her mother, who told her that she would look great in every outfit. After that, we see Ohara waiting for Honjoji, and his soul leaves his body when he sees Honjoji in that amazing dress. They board the plane, but there is a strange tension between the two. They seem to blush while being around each other. Honjoji wonders if she is wearing a good dress. Ohara tries to start a conversation and asks Honjoji about her family. She is taken aback, and Ohara wonders if he has asked something strange. Honjoji asks if he really wants to know about her background since it can come up in a conversation. She tells Ohara she has been a lonely kid ever since she was a kid. Her father left them to get the milk, but never returned, while her mom always used to be on business trips. Honjoji used to spend her days alone, and that's when she got attracted to maps. She would often spend her time looking at maps, and wondered how she would get to places with her mom. Her mother had a friend who would rarely come up to check on her. That's how Honjoji spent her childhood, looking at lame maps. She thinks that she is still boring, but Ohara says that her story is not boring at all. Finally, they reach the Iso airport, and out of nowhere, Ohara's grandma appears. She is bringing fruits, and asks Ohara if he needs a ride home. The duo hops inside, and the old lady takes them home. She asks who this beautiful lady is, and Honjoji introduces herself. Ohara's grandma thinks that Honjoji is very beautiful, and Ohara tells her to knock it off. Suddenly, the grandma remembers Ohara's marriage, and asks if she is the lucky one. Honjoji has to tell the truth, so she tells her grandma that they are not getting married. Ohara also supports her and says that there is nothing between them. The grandma thinks for a bit but doesn't pay much attention to them. She takes them to her home, where they meet Grandpa, who is suffering from back pain just like you. Grandma tells them that she has been working alone today because the old bastard can't get up. Ohara offers his help and apologizes to Honjoji. However, Honjoji doesn't want to sit idly, so she goes to her grandma and asks if she can help her with anything. The old hag takes her to the fields and shows her how to pick melons. Honjoji is impressed by the beauty of this village, and grandma tells her that this used to be a pretty populous countryside, but slowly, everything started to fade away. The grandma tells Honjoji that she knows for sure that they are getting married, and Honjoji tries to cover it up. But the grandma doesn't admit it, and says that Ohara knows about the traditions of this village. The family men in Iso are very harsh, that's why he wanted to keep this a secret. She is sure that Honjoji is the one who can take care of Ohara, and tells her that Ohara is very happy with her. Honjoji gets all red and faints. The grandma calls Ohara and tells him that Honjoji has fainted due to a heat stroke. The skinny bastard picks her up and takes her inside, but as soon as the door opens, his father appears in front of them. He is shocked to see Ohara, but Ohara's legs start to give up. His father quickly supports Honjoji so she doesn't fall, and they run inside. Grandma tells them to be gentle, but Ohara and his dad start arguing. His dad tells him that he is a failure ever since he was a kid, and asks if this is the girl he is getting married to. Ohara tells him that they are not getting married, and his father stops in place. The grandma tells them to bring Honjoji to the other room since Grandpa is sick as well. Ohara's dad tells him that he has been a careless person ever since he was in grade school. He never paid attention to the future and would always mess things up. In the meantime, the doctor arrives, and he tells them that there is no need to worry. Ohara apologizes to his dad for not telling him earlier, and says that he will apologize to everyone at home. At night, Ohara goes home and tells everyone everything. Nobody is mad at him, and his sister thinks that this is more like a TV show with all the fake marriages. Her sister had bought some gifts for the couple, but they turned out they are a waste now. His little siblings are very happy to see him, and they play all night. He apologizes to his mother as he is leaving to check on Honjoji. Ohara's mother tells him that his father is a bit mad at him, but he will simmer down after a while, and she gives him the gifts that his sister had bought. He goes back to her grandma's house, and she tells him that his bed is upstairs. But Ohara shits his pants when he sees that Honjoji is in the same room. He tries to move his bed outside, but suddenly Honjoji gets up. She asks where she is and what happened to her. Ohara tells her that she collapsed while cutting the melons. Honjoji is embarrassed to hear it because she wanted to help Ohara. She asks if he went home, and Ohara explains that everything is settled for now. He has apologized to everyone. Honjoji has only achieved a good nap during this whole trip, and suddenly the frogs start croaking. They go outside, and a frog jumps on Honjoji's forehead. She gets scared and almost falls, but Ohara grabs her. She asks if he is the one who carried her inside, and Ohara replies that he and his father carried her. Honjoji explains that she was cutting the melons when she got lost in the heat because she was enjoying it. She tells Ohara that this is the first time she has been in the countryside and has been on many trips, but nothing has felt like this. Ohara adds that he has put the frog stone right beside his TV in the lounge because it made him happy. Suddenly, the winds start rushing. The clouds move apart, and the moon shines brightly on the two of them. He tells Honjoji that he is glad to, but then the frogs start barking again. They decide to go back, and Ohara never gets a chance to complete his sentence. The next morning, Honjoji kept wondering what Ohara was about to say. His grandma greets her and tells her to get some breakfast. They decide to leave, but Honjoji wants to apologize to Ohara's parents. He asks if she is sure, and Honjoji insists on going to his home. However, Honjoji is mesmerized to see the fluffy hairs of Ohara and wants to run her hands through them. But these weird thoughts are not what she should be thinking about. After getting home, Honjoji apologizes to his family, and she wants to meet Ohara's father, but he is at work. Their flight is leaving tonight, so Ohara's mother suggests showing Aso to Honjoji. Honjoji says that she wants to go to the Aso Volcano Museum because she has always been a big fan of it. Ohara takes the car, and the duo leaves. Honjoji loves the countryside and the lush green fields. They finally reach the museum and have a great time there. Honjoji sees the old volcanoes and starts yapping everything she knows about them. Even a brat like Ohara doesn't have this kind of knowledge. Suddenly, a bunch of kids enter the museum and they start yelling here and there. Their scout tries to shut them up, but they don't follow. Ohara jumps in and shushes them in a second. Honjoji is impressed by how he did it, and Ohara explains that he learned it during his training. After that, he cracks some dad jokes, and Honjoji joins him too. The duo has a great time there, but now it's time to leave. On the way back, Ohara asks Honjoji if she is tired, but she avoids talking to him since Honjoji is too mesmerized by his hair. Due to Ohara, Honjoji is able to go to various places where she has always wanted to go. When they reach home, Ohara sees a familiar face. It turns out to be now his childhood friend. They used to be neighbors back when they were young, and now has become a glassworker. She makes amazing glasswork art, and she is happy to see Ohara. She grabs his fluffy hair and rubs it all over it, but Honjoji is the one who wanted to do it. Now sees her and introduces herself. Honjoji says that she is Ohara's co-worker, now wants to be her friend, and it is revealed that Now is also coming to Tokyo. She has a workshop that she has to attend, so she wants Honjoji to be close to him. However, it can be a disaster for Ohara and Honjoji cause in Tokyo. Everyone knows that they are married, but Now doesn't know anything about it. They wonder if this is going to be a good thing if Now joins them. After a day, Ohara comes back home and gives a treat to Kama. He asks Kama to forgive him as he had been away. However, Ohara wonders if Honjoji is fine because when they were coming back, Honjoji remained silent the whole way. He wonders if it is because of him or if his family might have said something to her. He remembers that night and is relieved that he didn't finish his sentence, or Honjoji might have disliked him even more. On the other hand, Honjoji keeps wondering about Ohara and his fluffy hair. She gets lewd thoughts and feels embarrassed, so she tries to switch off her brain. When Ohara goes to work, Kirikawa announces that summer vacations are here, so they should sell as many tickets as possible. Shinchi takes a broom and starts chanting cancellations, begone, which is their biggest threat. Kurikawa thinks Shinji is right, so she gathers everyone for chanting. Ohara tries to talk to Hanjoji, but she doesn't even look at him. He keeps wondering if he has done something wrong on the trip. During lunchtime, Shinji opens his lunchbox and everyone is amazed to see his wife's cooking. At night, Gonda joins Ohara for a drink and asks how he can impress Kamiya. Turns out that Kamiya doesn't even look at him while they talk, which means she is not interested. Ohara thinks that this is just some crap, so he goes back home. Next, there's tension in the office as Shinji is the one who is handling all the tickets, but he hasn't answered since yesterday. Keisuke asks Ohara if he has seen him, but nobody knows about Shinji. Ohara goes to Hanjoji, and she doesn't even look at him while talking. Ohara remembers Gonda's words, and now he knows for sure that he did something wrong because the girl doesn't look at people they dislikes. On the other hand, there is still no sign of Shinji when suddenly, Hideo, his son, arrives. He asks if his father is here, and Kamiya tells him that he isn't. She asks what happened to him, and Hideo explains that Shinji and his wife got into a fight last night, and his mother said that she will get a divorce. Everyone is shocked to hear this, and George gets up. He tells Ohara to go with Hideo and find Shinji while he will handle the rest of the things. It is quite unusual for George since he only talks about Hawaii. Hideo and Ohara go outside to find Shinji, and Hideo shows a file that can give some clues about Shinji's whereabouts. Ohara thinks that Hideo is a clever kid and asks where his mother is. Hideo tells him that she hasn't come out of her room since yesterday. The duo goes from one place to another, but there is still no sign of Shinji. Hideo asks if they are really going to find his papa, and Ohara wants to cheer him up, so they go on a short break. Ohara orders a kid's meal and gives it to Hideo, but the kid looks more silent than usual. He thinks that they will never be able to find his father and starts crying. Ohara tries to console him, but he doesn't know how to since he has no kids, and he is not even married. Ohara calls Kurikawa and tells her that there is no sign of Shinji. George takes the phone and tells Ohara about a strange bar for depressed dudes near the shrine. Ohara takes Hideo there, and Kamiya, Keisuke, and Gonda arrive as well. The dudes go inside while Hideo waits outside with Kamiya. There, they see Shinji, who is drunk to the core. He is trying to erase the divorce notice, which he can't since it is printed. Shinji wants to go back to his normal life and runs out of the bar. Hideo sees him and calls Shinji, but he doesn't listen and runs away. The rest of the crew arrive at the scene too, and they scatter to find Shinji. After a lot of searching, they finally find Shinji sitting in a tree and acting like a gorilla. He is on the run again, and the dudes follow him. The gorilla attacks George, but George is as tough as Mike Tyson, so he knocks him out in a single punch. Shinji gets back to his senses and says that he doesn't want to be a human since it is too rough. He also explains that last night was their wedding anniversary, so he gave a present to his wife. But instead of thanking, she replied with a divorce. As they go back home, Hideo comes running towards his father and hugs him. He starts crying, and Shinji apologizes for turning into a gorilla. Shinji wants to go back and never get married since it hurts a lot. The next day, Kurikawa announces that the JTC branch theme is here, and they are going with the beach theme. However, everyone is gloomy after everything that happened yesterday. Shinji hasn't come today as it is family time. Everyone wants them to get back together since Shinji is a very humble person. The ladies say that there is a fault with men who try to do things their own way without wondering about the other person. However, George tells them that it can either be the man or the woman who can cause problems, as thinking only about one's own is devastating for a relationship. Everyone thinks that George had a similar issue in the past, and Keisuke jinxed Ohara that he should be careful, too. Ohara thinks that marriage is too scary and goes to the storeroom. He finds Hanjoji about to fall and helps her carry the canoe. Hanjoji says that she wants Shinji to stick with his wife since he is a good person with an adorable child. Ohara gets blushy because Hanjoji is talking to him again, and he thinks that everything is back on track. In the evening, Hanjoji is going home when some screams her name. It turns out to be Nao, who has come from Aso, and she wants Hanjoji's help. Nao tells Hanjoji that she has been wandering in the streets ever since she came here because she can't find her apartment's address. She gives the card to Hanjoji, and she explains to Nao that her apartment is in the building next to where she lives. Nao says that Hanjoji's building is very amazing and they go their separate ways. After that, Hanjoji goes to the office where Ohara tells her that he is going out for a while. Hanjoji wonders if she should tell him about Nao, but thinks that Nao might have already informed him. In the evening, Hanjoji walks back to her apartment and remembers Nao, so she pulls out the address of her workshop. She goes there and sees Nao making glass utensils. The instructor is quite a bitch and tells Nao to do it quickly. Nao carefully takes the hot glass and turns it into different shapes while Hanjoji looks at her curiously. It is very hard for Now to work in the heat, but after a while, the job is done. Now thinks that it is perfect, but the fat hag tells her that she still isn't good enough. Joji is inspired by looking at her work, and just when she is about to leave, Now comes outside and greets her. She asks if she can come over to her place and have a drinking party. Joji tries to evade it since she is an introvert and has never had anyone come over, but Now insists on throwing a party, so Joji agrees to have her. At night, Now goes to Joji's place and brings a bunch of beer cans. Joji knows that she will get high very quickly if she drinks even a couple. Now says the witch at the workshop is very cruel and she has been yelling at her ever since she came here, but Now is happy that she can finally learn something. Now asks Joji if she is not getting married to Ohara because his family told her that they are just pretending to be a couple. Joji is now drinking a bit too much and Now asks if something gets her mad. She says that her maps are sometimes folded, so she gets mad. But slowly, Joji starts yelling about different things. Now asks if there is really nothing between Ohara and her. Joji is pissed and tells Now that she wants to know about Ohara's true intention. Joji had never thought that Ohara would be a friend of such a cute girl, and wondered if there was really nothing between them. Joji tries to ask Now if they are just childhood friends, but stops because it will be weird for her to ask as a coworker. However, she wants Ohara to say no if he has no feelings for her. Joji asks Now if Ohara has been vague like this since childhood, but Now says that he wasn't. One time, they got lost in the forest, and Ohara was the one who saved her. After that, Now calls Ohara and tells him to come to Joji's place. Joji tries to stop her, but it is too late now, and Now goes to sleep after the call. After a while, Ohara arrives at Joji's place and she stares at him strangely. Ohara gets scared and thinks that something is off. He goes inside to find out that Now is knocked out cold. He tries to wake her up, but Joji tells him to let her sleep and sit with her for a meeting. Joji asks Ohara what he was about to say that day in a so. Ohara tries to remember it, but he can't, so Joji yells at him. Ohara finally remembers it and tells Joji that he wanted to say he was glad that they went on a walk together. Joji wants to know the real truth and tells Ohara he says wishy-washy things here and there. So, she wants to know if there is anything between the two of them other than just co-workers. Ohara thinks for a while and tells Joji that he wants to go out with her. Joji screams out in surprise, and Ohara says that he wants her to be his girlfriend. Suddenly, there's a pin-drop silence. Joji wasn't expecting this response from Ohara, and she is lost for words now. On the other hand, Ohara didn't want to say this, but it just came out of his mouth as soon as he opened it. Joji's brain starts running at 100 miles and she wonders why Ohara would say such a thing. She is a completely boring person with no real-life experience of love. Meanwhile, Ohara wonders why he said such a thing because he is an introvert and has never had a girlfriend before. Both of them are getting embarrassed since nobody has talked, and 10 minutes have already gone by. Joji tries to remember her childhood interaction with different genders, but whenever a boy talked to him, it was only work-related, and she spent her entire childhood in books. But she has to say something and let Ohara know that she is a boring person, and she can only bring disappointment. Ohara also wants Joji to say something because he can't bear the silence of the room. If it is a no, Ohara wants to hear it, but their only hope is Now, who can break the ice. However, Now has no signs of waking up, so Ohara gets up with a lame face. He drags Now out of the apartment, and Joji falls on the table. Ohara picks up Now and takes her to his apartment, and thinks that he is dead for sure, and he can't even sit next to Joji anymore. The next day, Joji wakes up, but the first thought that comes to her mind is Ohara. She still can't switch off what he said. Joji tries to get up, but her body is sore as hell. She barely manages to go to the bath, and finally, she arrives at the office. Suddenly, Shinchi comes back, and he is all blonde now. Everyone wonders what the hell happened to him. Joji looks at Ohara's chair, but he hasn't arrived yet, so she thinks that he is off today. She tries to call him but can't, and her hands start shivering. On the other hand, Ohara is in his office, and he still regrets saying what he said. He wants to restart his life and wonders if he left too early, but it has already been 30 minutes. He thinks that Joji is a boring person, so this might be normal for her, but then there's a knock on the door. Kama quickly hides, and Ohara wants it to be Joji who has accepted his proposal. But these are all lewd thoughts, and it turns out to be the fat-ass Gonda outside. He wonders why he is here, and before Gonda could say anything, Ohara tells him to give up on romance and marriage. Gonda tells Ohara it is not about Kamiya today, but about a dating app that he has been using lately. He tells Ohara that he got to know a lot of women on this app, and now he knows everything. Ohara is amazed to hear it since he needs coaching himself. Gonda asks Ohara if he can come with him since he is meeting a girl from the app, and he is a bit insecure about meeting her alone. Ohara agrees, and they go to the designated location. Gonda tells Ohara that he has spent 60,000 on this app because it is quite expensive. However, most people are getting married this way, like some of their colleagues from the office, who also met through the app, but nobody talks about it. Gonda explains that he met some women from this app, but they were very scary, so he needs Ohara to help him if someone like her appears again. Gonda quickly changes his costume, and it turns out that there are communities on the app, so Gonda is meeting an anime fangirl from this app. He goes outside and waits for her, and suddenly, a girl in a similar costume arrives. She is the anime girl, and together they do a Mickey dance. The girl takes her mask off, and Gonda finds love at first sight. He thinks that Kaori doesn't look like her profile at all, and she tells him not to show this in public. They go inside the mall, and Ohara leaves them with no hesitation. They have a great time together as both are anime fans of M7. They eat, drink, and do karaoke together. Without realizing it, it is already midnight, and Kaori says that she has to leave somewhere. Kaori says that she will talk with Gonda tonight and they will exchange phone numbers. Finally, Kaori says goodbye and leaves. She looks like a very lovely lady, and Gonda knows what he has to do next. For the next couple of days, Gonda and Kaori talk with each other every night. Ohara is cleaning the office when he sees that Henjoji is not there. Gonda has been shining brightly since he has been talking with Kaori for 3 days straight. He tells Ohara that he wants to get married. That night, Ohara and Gonda hang out again, and Gonda practices a bit with his approach. He is taking it too fastly, but Ohara can't help him cause he was hasty as well. Ohara asks why Gonda wants to get married. Gonda explains that his parents always used to fight when he was a kid, and his only friend was his big brother. Now, he wants a happy family and to have some kids. Finally, Gonda decides to meet Kaori, but she says that she is busy. After insisting, Kaori comes to meet the fat dude, and Gonda says that he wants to date her and finally get married. Kaori makes a serious face and asks if he means it. She asks Gonda to follow him and sit silently in the bus. She takes him to a daycare and picks up her child. Gonda is devastated to see it, and Kaori asks if he still wants to marry her since she is a single mom. Gonda is too shocked to utter a single word, and Kaori leaves. Gonda tells everything to Ohara, and after calculating everything, he sees that he can support her child. Gonda messages her again and says that he wants to meet up where they last met. Kaori sees her message, and Gonda reaches the restaurant. He looks around, but Kaori doesn't appear. Suddenly, a blonde woman arrives and asks if he is Gonda. She tells him that Kaori wasn't able to come here, but she wanted to apologize and thank him. Gonda is devastated to hear it, and her friend says that Kaori is not someone who will use others, and asks if the two of them were dating. Gonda goes back to Ohara and starts crying. He says he lost Kaori's trust and hurt her. He thinks that he is a useless loser who can never take care of someone. But deep down, Ohara knows that Gonda is not any regular person. If he devotes himself to something, he will stick to it for life. Meanwhile, Kaori is also seeing her photo with Gonda, but she can't force herself to delete it. The next day, Henjoji is still looking at her phone and wonders if she should call Ohara or not. She can't bring herself to say something and thinks that it would have been better if she had answered him right there. She tries to make up her mind and call Ohara before going home, but suddenly Now arrives. She looks embarrassed and apologizes to Henjoji for knocking herself out that night. She doesn't seem to remember what happened that night, and Henjoji asks how much she remembers. Now says she drank 3 drinks and she doesn't remember anything after that. Henjoji is relieved that she doesn't remember anything about that night, and now invites her to her workshop. She tells Henjoji that there are free classes every week, and Henjoji will love making some glass. Henjoji decides to go there and get Ohara out of her mind. Now is happy to see her, and the old hag introduces herself as Hoshi. Henjoji is impressed to see all of the glasswork, and now gets her properly dressed for the work. Hoshi leaves, and the girls get to work. The heat can reach up to 13 degrees, so Now says that she will do the dangerous work first. After getting some glass, she rolls it on stones and gives it to Henjoji to blow some air into it. After that, she shows Henjoji how to make the base of the glass. Henjoji clears her mind and only remembers that she needs to move her hands and sink. She does the job, and Hoshi comes back with some water. Henjoji remembers the night with Ohara and says that if she can turn off her switch, she gets absorbed in the work and doesn't feel anything. However, if she can't put her feelings in front of others, she becomes less confident and thinks that she can't make decisions on her own. Hanjoji remembers her mother, who used to tell her that she needed to be more confident in life. He thinks of changing her personality, but there is no point now since she is an adult. Now tells Hanjoji that her glass is ready and shows it to her. Although it is a bit one-sided, now says that it is very good for a first attempt, and Hoshi agrees. There is no such thing as a perfect glass in the world. Now likes the glass, and so does Hanjoji, and now insists that Hanjoji take the glass with her and use it. Hanjoji agrees, and now says that she will deliver the glass once it is cool, and Hanjoji leaves. As she is going back, she gets a message from her mom who wants to meet her. Hanjoji thinks for a while but agrees to meet her next week. The day arrives, and Hanjoji suits up, but just when she gets out of her room, she falls due to her heels. However, she doesn't see that Ohara is calling her. Hanjoji goes to the cafe, and after a while, her mother arrives. She is as energetic as ever and brings a bunch of stuff for Hanjoji. She works as an interior designer and gets paid pretty good. She brings out a sweater and asks Hanjoji to get up so she can check the size. Hanjoji feels a bit embarrassed, but she is happy to see her mother. Ritsu asks how her work is going because she has heard that the travel agencies don't pay much, and they have to work for long hours. That's why Ritsu suggests that she should work on a freelance gig. Hanjoji says she wants to work the way she is doing, and Ritsu supports her, saying that she should do what she wants and make her own decisions. Suddenly, Ritsu asks when Hanjoji is getting married. She wasn't expecting these kinds of questions and says that she doesn't have anyone in mind. Ritsu explains she messed up her marriage life and caused problems for herself and Hanjoji, so Hanjoji should not mess up her marriage. These words echo in Hanjoji's mind like the angel of death. Meanwhile, Ohara is sitting in his room and keeps wondering if Hanjoji is still mad at him. He wants to call her again, but it would just make him look like a creep. He starts overthinking and also remembers the threatening calls. Suddenly, his phone rings, and Ohara thinks that it is Hanjoji's call, so he quickly picks it up. But it turns out to be Kama's doctor, who wants to talk about his vaccination. Ritsu drops off Hanjoji, but it turns out that she is involved with the threat caller and tells him that there is no sign of a marriage from her daughter. After that, Hanjoji opens her phone and sees the missed calls from Ohara. She wonders what he wanted to talk about, but she can't call him back. She is so embarrassed to even give him a missed call and wonders what she will tell him. Turns out that another boy wanted to talk to Hanjoji when she was in high school. Hanjoji panicked so much that she didn't leave the house for 3 days and stayed hidden under her blanket. She didn't go to school, and the boy waited for her every day for a week. When Hanjoji went to school, she got the news that he had collapsed due to the heat. Turns out that it was not a prank that Hanjoji was expecting it to be, and she considers that she is good for nothing. However, Hanjoji wants to break these chains of love because she knows she can hope for nothing, and she expects nothing in return. She wants to get rid of these chains holding her and stressing her every day. Hence, she decides to go to Ohara's apartment. She constantly rings the bell, and Ohara is shocked when he opens the door. He wonders why Hanjoji is here and why she is looking very serious. Hanjoji musters her courage and wants to go back to her street, free life. So, she points at Ohara, and in a serious tone, Hanjoji tells him that they should go on a date right away. Ohara is confused, but in reality, he likes bossy mamas. Hanjoji asks when he is free next week, and says that he will go on a date when he is free. Ohara is still confused, and Hanjoji yells if he is fine going on a date. Ohara agrees, and Hanjoji leaves, but she also apologizes for not attending his call. A couple of days later, Hanjoji and Ohara decide to meet. Ohara reaches the station and goes to the location where Hanjoji wants to meet him. Ohara wondered what had happened because he was stressed over her calls, and suddenly she came and asked to go on a date. He wonders if this is her response to his proposal, but Hanjoji was quite strange when she asked to go out. After a while, Hanjoji arrives, and she tells Ohara that they will do a tour of the aqueduct. However, if Ohara gets bored, he is free to leave. Hanjoji is trying to show him the bored side of her so Ohara can know what she usually does. Hanjoji is ready to make Ohara disappointed. She starts taking pictures of the brothers who made the river, and Ohara starts searching it on the internet. Turns out that Ohara is also interested in sightseeing. He asks Hanjoji why she wanted to come here, and she tells him that it was showcased on her favorite channel. Hanjoji says that he likes it too, since he is a fan of the channel as well, but he never got a chance to visit these locations. Hanjoji says that she will walk around the river all day thinking that Ohara will eventually give up on her, and she will go back to her calm life. But Hanjoji quickly stares at him because she is too interested in the show. She manages not to lose focus, and they continue moving through the park. Hanjoji is very happy to see the water and the fish, but Ohara is just happy seeing her. Henjoji thinks that Ohara is getting bored, but that bastard is having the best time of his life. They wander here and there, but Henjoji is ignoring Ohara just like your crush ignores you. Ohara tells Henjoji that it is lunchtime time, but she doesn't respond. When his stomach starts growling, she gives him a biscuit and starts walking again. They finally reach the end of the river where the water goes to the aqueducts. She gets mesmerized by her thoughts and remembers how the Edo people used this river, and it supported the whole life cycle. While she was lost in her thoughts, Ohara spoke up, which made her shocked. She believed that Ohara had already left, but the sick simp is still there. Henjoji can't understand why he is still here and asks him to leave if he is bored. Ohara says that he is enjoying this time with her because this is the first time she has seen her this happy. Henjoji questions Ohara's existence because no normal human being can enjoy this kind of thing. Ohara is taken off guard as he wasn't expecting this kind of response. Henjoji feels different from Ohara, so she tells him that they should never meet each other again. Ohara is shocked to hear this. Henjoji says that she is ready to go to Alaska and they should stop pretending to be a couple. Turns out that Henjoji is trying to switch off her feelings, just like every time, so she can stop being a disappointment to someone. However, her heart is racing cause deep down. Henjoji knows that she wants to be with Ohara. Ohara is standing there, confused, and wonders what he should do. But this time, Ohara is not ready to give up. He has nothing to lose and wants to be with Henjoji. For the first time, he has a motivation, and he grabs Henjoji's hand. The winds start rushing, the leaves fly in the air, and both of them lean in for a kiss. They hold it for some time, but inside, they are embarrassed and wondering what the hell is going on. Ohara tries to speak, but Henjoji tells him to stop. She needs a moment to digest what just happened, and she can't understand what she is feeling. She says they are just co-workers with completely different backgrounds. They were supposed to be just fake partners, but they ended up going on trips. So how did they end up in a situation like this? Ohara thinks for a while, but he doesn't know what to say. Henjoji gives him the map for the rest of the trip, and she tells him that she is going home to think for a while. After coming back, Henjoji erupts like a volcano, and she can't believe that she kissed a guy. She uses the rocks to distract herself, but the thoughts keep coming back. On the other hand, Kirikawa gets a call from someone who tells her something about Henjoji and Ohara. The next day, they meet at the entrance of the office, but both of them are too embarrassed to say anything. All they remember is the kiss from yesterday. Suddenly, Gonda arrives and tells them that they look cute together. The office is back on track, and Kamiya gives some hotels to confirm. Henjoji asks Ohara to help her, but neither of them can even look at each other. The thoughts of their kiss are running through both brains, and they can't shake them off. Henjoji thinks that she is an adult now, and a mere kiss should not become a hindrance in her work. Ohara thinks the same thing, as he is not a high schooler anymore, and they are already pretending to be a couple, so it should not be a big deal. However, Kirikawa is noticing how both of them are acting, so she goes near them and tells Henjoji and Ohara that she needs to talk with them for a minute. She tells Henjoji and Ohara that they are working on a new project where they will showcase that JTC is all about wife and husband work, so the new couple is the perfect fit for this job. They will work on the site together, but they should not get too involved, like kissing and stuff. Both of the shits their pants after hearing this, and Kirikawa says that it is not a big deal, so they should get to work. Ohara says that they should not do it because it might be just Kirikawa trying to know whether they are really married or not. There's also someone who is keeping a close eye on them because they get a strange call whenever something is off. Henjoji thinks that it is a pity that they have been getting involved in unexpected conditions. Henjoji thinks that they should give up since the project might involve them living together. Ohara remembers what Henjoji told her yesterday about going to Alaska, but he doesn't want to go, nor does he want Henjoji to go. So, he says that they should accept the project. Henjoji is taken off guard, but in reality, she also wants to be part of this project. However, she is concerned about Kama and the rest of the stuff. The next day, Henjoji goes hiking and sees a giant boulder that can fall anytime, but it has been there for ages. Henjoji sees this and says that life is very unexpected, just like what she is going through right now. She remembers Ohara, who has reached out to her again and again, but this bitch is playing too hard to get. She wants to experience married life even if it hurts or doesn't work out, so she has to make a decision soon. On the other hand, Ohara is still waiting for Henjoji's response because it has been 5 days since they last talked with each other. Suddenly, there's a knock on the door, and it turns out to be Henjoji-san. She knows she is late and quickly gives a document to Ohara. She tells him that this is within the bounds plan that she came up with so they can avoid any unforeseen accidents. Ohara thinks that it will be good since they are going to live together, but still, they have to keep an eye on Kama. who is calm for now but he doesn't like any guests. And Joji and Ohara start discussing the project and their real life, so she tells him that they should raise their hand before talking. But this is too tiring while Kama is watching them from his room. And Joji says that they should split the bills and the utilities, but Ohara insists that he will take care of it. After that, Joji says that they should set up a tent because they are living separately when they are not working on the project. And Joji finds a good place and sets up the tent, and Ohara asks what they should have for dinner. He says he will bring something to cook, but in reality, he just wants to leave the apartment because the kiss keeps popping up in his head. As Joji is taking a closer look at the tent, she sees that it is too large, which can cause some inconvenience. Suddenly, she hears a growl, and it turns out to be Kama. He is sitting behind her and is ready to strike. And Joji senses his presence and stays still so Kama doesn't get scared or pounce on her. He starts approaching Joji, but it turns out that he loves her. Instead of attacking, he rubs his head against her feet and leaves. This means that Kama has accepted her as a resident. Ohara comes back, and Joji remembers the line they should draw so they keep at a distance and don't end up kissing again. Joji does what she does best while Ohara gets to cooking. He quickly prepares the meal and tells Joji to give it a try. Joji asks if she can open a window. Turns out that she is sweaty after putting up the tent, while Ohara is wondering if his apartment smells. Joji takes the first bite, and she loves the food. Ohara explains that he has a habit of collecting spices wherever he goes and shows her different spices from different countries. But as he is doing this, they get a bit too close, so she quickly remembers her boundaries. After they are done eating, Joji gets to wash the dishes, but she wants to use the bathroom. However, Ohara is very close, and she doesn't want a man around. So, she makes an excuse and says that she is going home, but she will be back shortly. She runs to her home to use the bathroom while Ohara was also waiting for this moment, so he could finally use the toilet. Joji brushes her teeth and comes back. But as soon as she does, Ohara asks what she will do about bathing. Joji gets scared because she has been sweating a lot, and she can't go home again. Also, the tent is very hot, so her brain stops braining. She wonders what she should say, while Ohara wonders if he has said something wrong. He doesn't want her to think about him as a weirdo, but Ohara starts to get lewd thoughts about Joji. He hits a plan and tells her that there is a public bathroom nearby so she can take a bath there. Joji agrees, and as she is leaving, Ohara joins her. However, Joji had planned to go to her home for a bath, but she couldn't do it anymore since Ohara was with her. After refreshing herself, Joji thinks that Ohara has already left, but the bastard is still standing outside, waiting for her. This is the first time someone is waiting for Joji, and she is very happy to see this. They walk home, and their hands accidentally touch. There's also tension inside the apartment because they are too close, however, neither of them can sleep. Ohara decides to message Joji, but thinks that it will be too weird for her. On the other hand, Joji thinks the same thing, but they end up texting with each other. Both of them take a long time to reply to each other since they don't want to end up being a weirdo. But the temperature of the tent and the text is too much for Joji to handle, so she ends up coming outside. They go to the balcony for fresh air and think that things would have been better if they were married. The next day, Joji gives the documentation of their life as a working couple, and Kirikawa is very impressed to see it. She thinks that the duo is happy due to their upcoming marriage. They go back to work while someone from the head office arrives. Kirikawa shows him the pictures of the young couple and tells him that they are not faking it. The head office instructed the man to keep a close eye on them since the young employees can do anything to avoid a transfer. Now that Joji and Ohara are safe, the only person left who can be sent to Alaska is Gonda. The news spreads like a wildfire, and everyone knows about it. Gonda is shocked to hear it cause nobody told him, and he doesn't want to go so far from home. Ohara had thought that things would come to this, and neither had Joji. Ohara can't leave Gonda like this because of a lie. On the other hand, Gonda goes outside for fresh air as he is depressed. That night, neither Joji nor Ohara can sleep, and now it is time to fix their lie. The next day, Ohara goes to Kirikawa and wants to tell him everything, but starts choking. He remembers the time when he went to the pool as a kid and spent the money on food, but his mother had told him not to. When he got home, he lied to his mother, but she found out quickly. He was so ashamed that he started crying, and the same thing is happening right now. When he tries to tell Kirikawa, his eyes water up. He tells Kirikawa that he lied about his marriage, so he should be the one to go to Alaska. Kirikawa hears him and tells him to come with her. She takes him to the office where he sees Joji. She told Kirikawa the same thing, and they apologized. Kurikawa is tired of this, as she wasn't able to catch them, so she tells them not to worry, as she is the one who is going to Alaska. She has already told the head office, and all of them have agreed. She takes them on a walk, and Ohara asks if her family is alright. Kuroko explains that she used to be a traveler, but ever since she got married, she has been stuck in one place. She is a good mom and takes care of her family, but she has no time for herself. She goes on a trip once a year, but it is not much for him. That's why she decided to go to Alaska, because she likes adventures and new places. In the evening, Honjoji and Ohara return to the apartment and start sorting out things. They calculate all the expenses and decide that they should tell everyone about their fake marriage. After that, they go outside to throw the trash, but both of them are sad. They say that single life is the best because marriage has many complications, and they get bound to each other. Nobody can do anything on their own, and they have to look after each other, so they should stick to being single. After finishing up, Honjoji takes her leave, but tears roll down with every step she takes. Ohara is also sad and thinks for a while, and quickly runs after Honjoji. He screams her name and asks if she wants to get married. Honjoji is starstruck and agrees. However, she wants to clear one thing. She asks Ohara if he loves her even though she is boring and not an interesting person. Ohara says that he loves her, and Honjoji says that she loves him too, but they still decide to tell everyone everything. That day, they went to the office and told everyone about their fake marriage, but now they are getting married. Everyone is shocked, and Gonda is very happy for them because they won't have to go to Alaska anymore. In the evening, Ohara gets a call from the same person again, and he tells Ohara that he knew that things would turn out like this. Ohara asks why the person keeps calling them, and the person on the other side apologizes for causing any anxiety and ends the call with a congratulation. Suddenly, he gets a message from Honjoji who wants to meet him. He goes to the station and finds Honjoji glowing. He picks up the basket and they go to have some tea. There, Honjoji yaps for 2 hours about the new islands that have formed by the volcanic eruption. They walk together and both of them are very happy to have each other. While going through the park, Honjoji offers her hand, and they hold hands for the rest of the time. Both of them tell their family about their marriage, and everyone seems to be happy. The anime ends with Ohara's and Honjoji's final kiss, which is something you can never get.